Oh my gosh, it's Joe the Realtor.
Hi, Brian, how you been?
Wow, how are you?
Oh, look at us, just running into each other in this room with microphones.
Randomly.
Yeah.
This is like, well, how you been? I feel like I feel like I should talk to you about this stuff right now.
Yeah, well, if you have any real estate related questions, while we're here, why don't we just record? We got the mics, we got the room.
We should let's lean into this opportunity serendipitously.
Yes. And then play it back as friends do when we're not in each other's presence.
Oh my gosh. So you are a realtor.
I am a realtor in the Kansas City metro area. Yes.
Oh my God. I love Kansas City. Big fan.
It's home to me, so I'm partial, but yeah.
Big fan. I'm over here. I'm a big fan. Not a big fan. I haven't driven downtown in a while. I haven't driven like on 435 coming off K10. There's traffic still doing traffic things. So how's traffic these days?
Oh, let's see. It's been a while since I've gone this way, but I believe it was Main Street between the plaza and downtown was tore up real good for a while.
Okay. All right.
And if you told me there was like upwards of 20 accidents a day, the way they were diverting traffic and stuff, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, yeah, before, like, I remember driving down during the, I was on 435, actually during like drive time, even like 8, 9 a.m. during the COVID days.
Oh yeah.
And it was actually fairly open.
Yes.
We're all working from home at that time. And
I'd just go out and see how fast my car would go because there's nobody else out there.
Right. It's funny, like when you work downtown or work in the metro area, if you commute, it's funny, like the difference between like summertime traffic versus like school time traffic, because there is a noticeable difference on the 435 whenever like school's in session versus when it's not in session.
Yes.
I will never get over like, oh, hey, summer months, we have fewer traffic jams. This is fun.
Except on Friday night on the east side of 435 leaving town, where everybody is going out of town to go to Lake of the Ozarks. Mm-hmm. That jams up pretty good on Friday evenings. But otherwise, like, I don't know, everybody in the KC metro area leaves work early on Friday afternoons. It's like rush hour's over by like 3.
How about that? Oh my gosh. And there's this, it's weird where the, like kind of where the backups happen as well. But this is not a show about traffic, which would be an amazing podcast.
Oh, no. And we're not going to talk about Traffic, the brilliant Soderbergh film.
You're right. Yeah, that movie. I remember that.
Yeah.
No, we're talking about real estate agent stuff. And today I want to talk about negotiations. Okay. Now, negotiations, that's like a very important part if you're a home seller and if you're a home buyer, right? Is. That's actually kind of tense. Tell me I'm wrong, but I think that's like a tense situation.
It can be. And it's not going on quite as much right now in terms of, the buyer having much leverage because the inventory is low and you're just kind of making an offer and guessing and hoping it goes. But in the past, you could try and get it at a lower price. You could ask for some concessions like seller paid close costs and things like that. And that just doesn't happen right now. Your main negotiation leverage would be maybe after you're under contract and maybe hoping to get more repairs on the inspection or something like that.
Can I tell you, whenever I tried to buy this house and I was looking at the house, the person who owned it previously to me had this really awesome TV downstairs. And I tried to ask him to leave the TV because I liked it so much and to wrap it in. But I think if I recall correctly, he said, I love that TV so much, so please don't take the TV.
Oh, wow. And it's funny. You could make a play there. Then like, all right, well, take the TV, but we're taking $3,000 off our offer or something.
Oh, okay. You know what? That's not a bad. I didn't think of that. They did leave a lot of. They left the washer and dryer.
Oh,
I wonder if they were looking forward to that because they didn't want to haul it to their new place or whatever. But
probably not.
So they're like, oh yeah, sure, you can keep that. I guess I'm like, it's a nice washer and dryer. I was like, hey, we want that. Is it weird to like ask for the appliances and stuff like that? No,
that's not weird at all. In fact, that can be, yeah. In fact, a lot of times buyers will ask for it, on the seller's disclosure, it'll say whether the seller intends on leaving it or not. And even if they say no, you can still ask. Washer, dryer, and refrigerator are very common items to leave. And from the seller's point of view, if it's not a big deal, it might make the buyer feel like they won something, Okay, yeah, we'll give them the washer and dryer and the fridge, and so it can be a way to just kind of, like I said, let the buyer feel like they won something. And that can kind of create goodwill, or I don't know, it can lead to a lot of,
Yeah, this reminds me of the show, this movie with Richard Pryor. It's called Moving. You ever see that movie?
Yeah, I have seen that movie.
And one of the things, like, he was trying to buy this house because his family's moving across the country or whatever.
Yes.
And he goes and finds this house that they like. And the home seller, or whoever that person was like, "Oh, you like the stairs? Well, that's too bad. We're taking them with us."
Yeah.
And they was going around like, "Oh, I like these. Well, that's too bad because we're taking them with us." And he thought he was joking, but he was very adamant. Like, no, I was joking about these two things, not the stairs.
Yeah. We have it on tape. Didn't he tape the conversation?
Yeah, he taped the conversation. Yeah. It's like, no. I said we're taking the stairs, and why would you take stairs?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point?
The one that comes up more often than others is when the seller actually takes down the basketball goal in the driveway and takes it with them.
Okay.
Which that has angered some buyers.
Like a basketball goal that's in the ground or above the garage door or something like that, or I would imagine if it's on a wheels situation, like, obviously I would not expect that to stay, but if it's in the ground, that's a different scenario.
And that's what happened with one particular buyer of mine. The basketball goal was bolted to the ground, and they unbolted it and took it with them. And generally, the rule is if something is fastened down, it stays. But to this day, it is still wildly unclear if that applies to basketball goals.
Okay, interesting. So we got to make a special stipulation for that.
You might, if it's important to you, you might specify basketball goal stays.
Like gazebo, does that count?
Gazebo, that would be assumed to stay. Yeah, because that's you can't just, I don't know, pick those up unless it was an inflatable bounce castle that they were using as a gazebo.
Right on a helicopter to lift it out of the backyard.
Well, speaking of references to comedies, there was an episode of Kids in the Hall where a lady got her gazebo stolen.
That sounds like something they'd think up. Yes.
It is a bizarre sketch, and it would be too difficult to explain. But
it's dry Canadian humor. Like, it's not going to land someone just describing it over a listening audience.
But it's one of my favorite sketches.
Oh, my favorite one from Kids in the Hall is the ear bleeding sketch.
That was a good one.
Yeah. So you should check that out if you want. You should YouTube that one if you're listening right now. But negotiations are okay. So yeah, you got to I always, my thought process was I assumed that you can make a lot of, I guess fastened to the ground, obviously that you would assume, but I guess I never, I assumed the doors would stay.
Yeah.
I assume the windows would stay and the blinds would stay. But
oftentimes it is written in there whether they are or not, just to be clear. Because as a seller, it doesn't do you any good to take something that people are expecting to stay and making somebody mad, so just be upfront. I had some friends of mine buy a house, and the sellers put in the seller's disclosure that they're taking with them their $5,000 drapes. And it was just kind of funny to us that it's not, you could have just said drapes. You didn't have to tell us they were $5,000. And
that's the name of the product on the shelves is these are the $5,000 drapes.
Yeah.
And they're shopping at Home Depot or something.
It's in the 5K section of Bed Bath. Yeah.
So what is the thought process? So you show someone, you're a buyer's agent, you show someone the house, they like it, they make an offer. I guess in today's market, I'm not thinking of 2016, but what is the prevailing wisdom of you're making an offer on a house, which you're probably assuming other people are going to come in? How do you do it?
So if you're looking at it the first day or first weekend it's on the market, at most price points, you've just got to assume that there's going to be multiple offers on it. And So, there's really not much negotiation there. We can kind of talk about what to do in a multiple offer situation, but to the negotiating side, you can give yourself some leverage in this market. If a home really only a week, if it's been on the market a week and it hasn't sold, when the seller is seeing his neighbors sell their house, his or her house, the first weekend it's on the market and they see theirs didn't, they missed the mark on price, obviously. So the longer it's been on the market, the more leverage you have. But my tactic is, well, okay, if it's overpriced, let's see what everything in the neighborhood sold for, because it's not unreasonable to offer market price. That's not harming your buyers. That's not harming the seller. There is a market price you should land at. And, if it's been on the market too long, they just missed it, that's all. And so you can come in a little lower. One thing that doesn't really do anybody much good is like really coming in super low and expecting, well, they'll at least counter. Like sometimes, no, they won't. I had an agent telling me one time, and this was during the foreclosure, I guess, crisis. I couldn't think of a better word to say there, but she was telling me about a buyer she had. There was a foreclosure and they like offered half of the listing price. And it's like, and she goes, they didn't even counter. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of get it.
They didn't take that seriously.
Yeah.
This was not a serious situation.
Yeah. And so there is a point, where you can just irritate a seller and they will shut down. And even if the house has been on the market a year, you can't go in and just like say, all right, you got it on the market for 300. I'll give you 150.
No, it's not going to work that way. Yeah. No. I mean, I would imagine if that was the situation and the kind of money involved, like I will just hang on to this for another year.
That's true.
Until we find a buyer who's a little bit more serious about this.
Or if there was an improvement they needed to make to the house or something like that. Maybe it's a house that came back on the market after an inspection period. They found something kind of big, like a foundation issue or something like that. Though most people know about if they have one going in, but maybe it has an old roof, you're buying a 20-year-old house and the roof's never been replaced, I'm
going to have to link to our video where, the 10 essential skills for real estate agents, yes, where Chad, the hilarious Chad
Swafford,
our friend Chad Swafford, who is so funny. And, we gave him a premise of, buyers who are making outrageous claims just to lower the listing price. And we did not give him a script. He just went for it. He just like made up stuff. He's so funny because he's a good improviser. And my favorite is like, you didn't tell me this house was made of wood.
Yeah. That is one of my favorite things you and I have done is that video. It does consistently crack people up. And as much as we put into it, everybody who watches it says, hey, that guy in the glasses, Chad, is awesome. It's like, yeah,
that's our buddy. Yeah, he's so good. It's if you ever see Chad Swafford videos or out there, see him performing, you need to see that guy. That guy is hilarious.
Yes.
So it seems like the negotiation territory. I don't know. It seems like there's a range there, but if there's multiple buyers, then it's like you have 3 buyers and one's, I guess it's just now bidding situation. And we're recording this in May of 2022.
Yes.
It's just a unique situation, right?
It is. It is. So kind of moving on to the multiple offer situation. I had some buyers last summer in very similar market conditions. We had been to this neighborhood and looked at least 2, I think 3 other homes that they'd gotten outbid on. And the one that they ended up getting, we saw it came on the market on a Thursday, and it was kind of a rainy Thursday where not a lot of people were coming out to look at it. And I said, normally I wouldn't do this because we don't know of any other offers, but let's go. I think it was 10,000 over the ask price. We'll say, hey, we'll just go 10,000 over if you stop showings now and let us take it. And it was a fine line of, I think the way we ended up writing it was, okay, they could show up Friday, but you got to let us know by Saturday, So we did give him like a full day because when I talked to the agent about this afterwards, the selling agent, I go, okay, well, we were trying to be aggressive and diplomatic at the same time. And they're like, you actually played it right.
Nice.
You would have really angered the seller if you'd said, shut down showings right now. They just would have gotten defiant. And so there is diplomacy in it.
And there seem like there's some emotions going on there, right?
Yeah.
Like if you insult them, like even though it's like, here's $10,000 over, but you have to do this. It's like, even though they have money, like the money's in the hand, it's right here. Something about that, like kind of emotional play. It's like, well, don't tell me I can't do that. I don't know what it is about that, but you got to be diplomatic about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And you're taking a bit of a guess because I don't know this seller. They're not my client, though I could kind of get a read from them about how their house was decorated.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like I flipped through their CD collection. No, I did not. I did not.
No, of course not.
No, no, but there is something to that. Like, here was something with that particular seller that was important. And this wasn't anything I gleaned from the house. I didn't like look closely at their family photos, but they said, well, they have a kid who's graduating high school. Can we close after graduation? Because they're moving out of town. And we were like, I guess it wasn't a big deal to my buyers.
Yeah.
Boy, we were really hoping to be in 4 days earlier.
That is at least $20,000 of displacement in anguish.
And you are going to add a third story by closing. No, I mean, glib about it. You could play it that way and act like you're really conceding something, but it's like, no, this was a very nice agent. And I could tell they were a very nice family. And so there was no reason to get hostile about it.
No.
I'm like, okay, if that means a lot to them, we can give them that. Don't ask any other buyers. They can't,
Everyone needs to walk away feeling good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the goal, right? Sometimes it doesn't always happen, but we want everyone walking away feeling good about it. And because then someone's going to move on to the next house and the next part of their life, and someone's moving in, they want to feel good, excited about it too. So it seems like that's kind of the vibe one wants to have.
This was a great house for my buyers. They loved it. It ended up working out really well that we didn't get the other 2 houses or 3 houses that they bid on. Because this was frankly, I think a better floor plan. It had a walkout basement.
Nice. I like that.
They got a house that was a great fit for them. And the seller got 10 grand more than they thought. Everybody was, I think, happy.
Yeah. So these are like obstacles that you have to overcome.
Yeah.
These are like realtor things.
Yeah. And I get it because it can be scary for the buyer because you're throwing an offer out there and you don't know if it's going to get accepted. You wonder, you question yourself, like, should I have really offered 30 grand more than they were asking?
Mm-hmm.
What I tell buyers in that case is make it an offer where you can sleep at night if you don't get the house. You gave it your best shot. You wouldn't want to go $1 more and you didn't get it. But also make it an offer where you can sleep at night if you do get the house. Like you're laying in bed that first night and you're thinking, oh my gosh, this mortgage is going to crush me.
Exactly. Yeah, we don't want that. Yeah. And then that's obviously you can't get inside someone's head, right? Like it's just like you need to have a very serious conversation with yourself to make sure this is where your headspace is at, and then we're going to go and make an offer. And you're good at coaching people around that.
I think so.
That's a good way of phrasing it, I think.
Yeah. No, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I was in a training session at my company. We were talking about multiple offers, and I tell my buyers, making an offer, you can sleep at night if you don't get the house. You can sleep at night if you do get the house. And my manager was like, that's great. Everybody in the room, write that down. And I was like, yeah, I'm smart.
Let's put that on a poster. It's kind of wordy. Don't care.
Yeah. No.
Make the poster bigger.
But, real estate's big now. Kids will be hanging this poster in their rooms.
Next to their Tom Cruise posters and their Arnold Schwarzenegger posters.
Or it's some like teen who's really into like, who's just a real estate nerd and has like love it or list it posters in their room. Property Brothers or House Hunter's desk calendar.
Yeah, that's a very unique person right there.
Yeah. Well, I think
that was you. You're just describing yourself, weren't you?
I am.
That was you when you were in high school.
Yeah, and I had every month I'd get a new actuary table from the title company, and it's like, oh, good, okay, so the way I thought it would be. Yes.
So, talk to me about obstacles. What are some common obstacles that one needs to overcome? Like if you're buying a house, and this is where a realtor really kind of shows themselves, like the value of hiring a realtor to do things. So, what are the most common obstacles that you think are part of the process?
Like that holds a buyer back. Or makes them hesitate.
Buyer or seller? Like what is? Let's start with buyer. Let's focus on buyer right now. What is an obstacle a buyer needs to overcome where Joe the realtor can come in and like help them out?
Well, if you're making a move up to a bigger home or moving out of an apartment, it can take a little bit of a mental adjustment to realize you may be paying more a month than you were. And sometimes people forget it's more than just principal and interest. You're going to have a little bit of payment that the mortgage company is taking out every month to make sure your property taxes are covered, your homeowner's insurance. So make sure all that's in there. And if it's been a while since you've bought a home or, you're only rented, maybe talk to a lender like a month before so you can get used to that number, it can sit in your head for a while and be like, okay. And maybe even like kind of live the next month like that's your payment now. Maybe that means one less night out a month or something like that. But so there's money. It's a lot of money. The idea of putting money down, that's the biggest check a lot of people will write, their down payment at closing. Some people will go above and beyond what they have to pay because they don't like the idea of financing and that it gives them a hedge against ever being upside down in the house if they've already, paid down so much of it. And then, so again, money. The other thing is if you're just not finding the right house, which maybe you're not in this, there's not as many choices right now. Maybe you need to adjust your criteria or, as much as it is against my own self-interest to tell you wait a while to buy a house. Maybe you do need to wait a while.
No, we want to do that. Yeah. We want to give because we want happy customers.
We do.
Because we want them to visit you again whenever the next transaction needs to happen. And that was whenever you helped me find my house, it was like we looked at a lot of houses in Johnson County, if I recall correctly. And they were nice, but really weren't singing to me and my wife. Yeah. And really wasn't just kind of the vibe or the feel we were looking for. And it wasn't until we made the trip over here to Lawrence and we looked around. We had a lot of fun looking for houses. That was, if you recall, that was a lot of fun.
I remember that day. Yeah. And we looked at like 10 houses that day.
Yeah. Yeah. And we looked at a lot. And Joe was hiding in the bushes and like pretending to be a loud neighbor.
Well, and we were, since at the time it was a separate board of realtors, we were actually touring around with a Lawrence real estate agent.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm sure she thought we were nuts.
She seemed like she was having fun with us.
She was a good lady. Yeah.
And, but so we're looking around and then we found the house that we're currently sitting in right now that we love dearly. But it was like we toured around. Yeah, probably it was a 10 at the end of the day. It was probably around close to 20 houses when it was all said and done. Maybe around that.
In Lawrence, I'm remembering it being somewhere around 10 or 12.
But wasn't also the Overland Park ones.
Yeah,
so I'm adding those into it as well.
Yeah, we somewhere between 20 and 30 altogether.
Yeah. And it was just kind of like, so I guess that obstacle would be like, okay, well, we're looking at a lot of houses. And so,
it is time consuming.
It is. And it is kind of exhausting. I was yawning and wanted to take a nap when it was all said and done. It's not like Ned Flanders when he was like, well, I'd hate for you to come out here and not sell a house to me. So not the case. Like, no, this is a very serious commitment we're about to make. So we got to make sure we make the right one.
Yeah. And that's very true. Yeah. Sometimes if you do get caught up in like the real estate shows on TV, it becomes, I don't know, one of those things you see on TV that you think is easier than it is, I don't know a better way to put that, but, years ago, you wouldn't be able to watch TV programs about obnoxious couples looking for houses,
Someone
they should have followed you guys because you're not obnoxious.
well, thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
But also like, you know, I'm not like a quilter who makes $400,000 a year in those shows that apparently I think they're padding their numbers a little bit.
I think they are too. By the way, a secret about those shows, the people on them have usually bought and closed on their house by the time that show is filmed. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You're telling me that television is a liar sometimes?
Sometimes.
That's such a lying box.
Yeah.
What a lying situation.
That's the lying box.
That's what I call the TV.
Yelling at your son, Vlad, it's enough time watching the lion box.
Stop watching that lying box.
Yeah.
Let's read some book.
Fill your head with lies.
Let's read tabloids. Paper lying boxes.
Yeah.
Rectangles.
But,
All right, rectangles. But gosh, yeah, I'm trying to think of the obstacles that were, I mean, it was handy. I'm glad that I didn't have to talk to the sellers directly, because you just need someone to like put a buffer between because there's a lot of emotions going on and it can get very heated very quickly. You need someone to like absorb that and be like a mediator, I should say.
Yeah. And and that's the agent's job, is to talk to each other and work stuff out and figure out what's important. And, you know, that's not necessarily tipping your hand to say, well, look, this is important and this isn't. It's just like, okay, it's more like figuring it out and, you know, making sure everybody, as much as they can, gets what they want, you know?
Yeah. I mean, they'll when you have like a mediator, like they're like, look, they want this, but the sellers are saying, look, that's not negotiable. We can't do that. That's a no. So we're not going to move for that. And you're going to have to break the news to the buyer. Yeah. Like, I got to tell you, that's just, we're not going to move on that. And hearing that from someone at the source who's like, has to hear that might cause some feathers to be ruffled. But when you have your agent saying like, look, that's how it is. I feel like you're good at like delivering some tough news sometimes. I don't know.
Were I not in real estate, I would have been a hostage negotiator. Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that would have fit, you know. All right, what can we get you to release one more hostage? The television in the basement. Okay.
Okay, well.
Yes.
Now we're talking.
Yeah. But,
well, and okay, so one more thing I want to talk about. So there is a lot of like talking about like features, right? Like the television in the basement. That was my thing. You know, then just I think I mentioned it before. It didn't work out, but that was okay. I made a shot for it, see what happens. And it wasn't, for me, it was not a make or break thing, but it was like see, because I liked it so much.
Right.
And I also did not want to install a new TV. No. It was already on the wall, so let's leave it. Yeah. But we figured it out.
You've been here 5 years, and that TV's still sitting on the floor that you mean to install all these things.
We watch it on the floor like it's a flat screen, like an old fashioned tube, but it's like it's very, very unsafe. That thing falls over all the time. But let's talk about smart home features. Smart home. I got to say, I have a Siri. I have an Alexa. I do not have that super awesome kind of thermostat that like
Nest?
Is it called a Nest?
Well, that's the one I've seen the most of.
That's pretty cool. Is that Canon's a smart home feature? I don't know.
Yes, it is. It does. Yeah. In fact, that was one of the first smart home features I saw become really popular. And it's because you can adjust it on your phone before you come home. So it does, could legit save you some energy. Why cool your house when you're not home as much as you would when you are here. But, it takes some time. Yeah. On your commute, your house is working for you, cooling down. It's going to say, hi, Brian. We're a nice, comfy temperature right now. Come on in. Yeah.
I can see that, I guess. Or what are some other smart home features? Have you seen some interesting ones that really pop out to you?
Yeah. And it's a fun thing to kind of look around at because there's a lot of innovation there. There's a lot that's coming fast. But there's a lot of stuff you can control with your phone now. Garage door openers. There's smart blinds you can buy. You can program all the lights in your home, your underground sprinklers. Then there's getting to be things like safety features that I think are kind of interesting. Like there's, I think it's like a vibration sensor that you can install along the floors of your house. And if you have like an elderly relative or somebody with mobility issues, it can detect when somebody has a fall.
Oh, no, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a very, very good one. I like that. Okay, good. Yeah, that's better than that necklace that they have to wear. Like
The life alert.
yeah, the I've fallen and I can't. Remember that commercial?
Yes.
And but yeah, if you have a person with mobility issues, you want some peace of mind, which I know that is a common kind of thing you think about. That gives you some peace of mind.
Yeah, for sure. And as we get to see more multi-generational housing and do have different generations living in the home, it may not even be the worst idea for somebody who lives alone. And I live alone. If I fell and hit my head, who would notice for 3 days? Except my cat.
Isn't that how Catwoman became a thing? She fell out of a window and all the stray cats came out, and then all of a sudden she somehow turned into Catwoman. Remember that from the 90s? Yeah. Is that Michelle Pfeiffer?
That was Michelle Pfeiffer.
Okay.
And that must have been...
I was so confused.
Yeah.
So the cats nibble at her fingertips and now she's Catwoman? Like, how does that work?
I want to find the video footage of that getting pitched.
My favorite smart home feature is by far the Ring doorbell.
Yes.
And I like it because on my social media, it's not uncommon to see porch pirates get like found out.
Yeah.
Like on their the Ring, or if they don't have a Ring, sometimes they have like the low cost kind of high definition cameras maybe above their overhangs. And I've seen it all the time. Like people are like, do you know this person who stole the mail off my porch?
Yeah, no, for sure. I remember when I had my home, there was some burglaries that had occurred, and enough people had either security cameras in their soffits or doorbell cameras that they got images of the guys, and they're like, it was enough to figure out, it's the same guys, Oh
my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. So they have your face, Brian.
I would never, ever, would I ever do something like that? Jeez.
No, I was kidding.
No, you're being serious. I know you. You don't joke. I've never heard, you don't tell jokes.
Well, I am curious about this stack of waffle irons behind you with all the serial numbers rubbed off.
I've rubbed the numbers off a waffle iron.
Because then it becomes a very funny Abbott and Costello routine. Are these waffle irons hot? Yeah, they're hot. Yeah.
You'll be flipping for them or something. I don't know. It's basically pun jokes.
Yes.
With an old timey voice like this.
I tell ya.
Yes. Say, Joe.
I am, Brian.
Are you waffling on the decision to buy this house?
Not at all. Batter up.
Batter up. Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh, wow. That's classic right there.
Join us for our next podcast, Continuous Unfunny Puns.
My mom would like him. My mom, she heard that. She'd be like, oh, I like pun jokes. Yay.
We're going to find out if your mom listens to our podcast now.
I assure you she does not. She's not interested in real estate podcasts. If it's not Cheers episodes or the Guys Grocery Games, we're not interesting. Right? Or the Game Show Network. She likes that show a lot. That channel with Steve Harvey. It's not the game show. He was Family Feud, but they play a lot of Family Feud. She likes that channel with that game show on it. But so
Smart
like
homes, yes.
The what?
Smart homes, yes.
Smart homes, right? Smart homes. Yeah, the Ring doorbell. It's been kind of cool, and it's just kind of changed the landscape of everything. A lot of cameras. Seems like a lot of these integrations have cameras or running it from your phone.
Yep. There's a lot of voice control now.
Just like in the movies back in the 90s.
Yeah.
That was cool. We saw that back in the now it's real.
Yeah.
Basically all these like tech people who like grew up the same time we grew up, like they're making what happened in the movies like 30 years ago happen.
I think tomorrow and next week is actually Blade Runner is going to happen in real life. Yes.
Well, as long as it's not like Escape from LA or New York. They stopped to LA and New York. They make another one of those. Like Escape from Kansas City.
Yeah. Escape from Des Moines.
Escape from Kansas City, and he's up down playing video games. I can't leave. I want to get the high score on this whack-a-mole game.
There's a trail of barbecue sauce following him out of town. Yeah.
So yeah, they talk to you. You know, making think all these things happen on your phone. There are some times where I think Silicon Valley does a good job with this, where they call it solutionism, where a refrigerator that talks to you, like if you're out of a certain thing, and it's like I don't want it to email me a grocery list. The way I shop for groceries is like, it's pretty basic. It's like, and what food I eat. I don't need it to like email me what I need to have. So it's like they're finding problems that aren't really problems. But then again, I say that with some trepidation, because I didn't realize how convenient some of these things can be if it's done for you. I don't know. Maybe but that one I was like, why would I don't need a refrigerator to keep track of all that. I know what I want to buy.
It seems like a bit much when it gets to refrigerator level. It's like, your job is to keep things cold. Why are you telling me what to do at the grocery store? You know?
Yeah. It's like, you know how the gas pump, sometimes they have like a video playing when you pump gas, like your refrigerator, like, and now for the news minute while you're looking for something to eat. No, I don't want to watch the news while I'm looking for food right now. I'm just trying to see what do we have left over in here. But I do like the temperature thing. I like the camera things for security. I like the vibration thing on the floor for, safety.
Yeah.
There are other things out there that are just kind of interesting. Gosh, I like it's not a smart home feature. I do like the thing where you're showing homes. Like if you go on Zillow, people will put like CGI kind of beds and tables and everything. So you can so it's an empty room, but I'm not going to stage this for this photo. Let's put some like CGI graphics in here so you can see what it looks like. It looks good.
Yeah. Yeah, we call that virtual staging. And it's become helpful. It's really helpful on empty houses. It's something maybe a renovator just flipped and decided not to furnish. As silly as it sounds, you think you can look past an empty room. It always helps you to have it furnished, so.
Yeah, no, you need to give someone like, here's the potential for this room. Yep. And you're right. Like, can't you see it? Like, I kind of need some help seeing what this could be. And it makes it more fun, I think.
It does make it more fun. And the funny thing is, I know this from selling new homes, which oftentimes are empty when we sell them. And I still get tricked by, I don't know if it's technically like an optical illusion, but an empty room, there's like nothing, there's no point of reference for your brain to like see the scale of the room. And so as weird as you would think an empty room would look huge, but a lot of times they actually look bigger with furniture in them. It's like, oh, there's a big sectional in here. Oh, this room is bigger than I thought, I can get a bigger table in here than I thought. And so, it does help to at least have some sort of representation of furniture in the room there, whether it's virtual, like you print out a picture of it virtually staged or actually stage it.
Nice. Yeah. Technology, Yes. Man, it's just keeps on getting more technological.
It does. Very, very high tech technology.
Kind of freaks me out, actually. The AI revolution.
It can be a little scary. Because all these things that are in our home now that are connected to the internet, like a refrigerator, they can be hacked. And
or like a Roomba, like tracing your square footage or your house or whatever. Or I don't know if that's a thing, but it could be a thing. I don't know. Or things can be hacked and like all the, or like my Alexa, like, you listen to a lot of Billy Joel. Like, first off, I like Billy Joel.
Yeah, Billy Joel. I think, by the way, we are recording this on May 3rd. I think his birthday's this week.
No kidding.
Yeah, he has a May birthday. I can't remember. Born in 49, so he'll be 73 this year.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, he looks, he's still at it. He's still playing the garden like twice a day.
I think the last concert I went to was Billy Joel at Kaufman with you guys.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was fun.
That was fun.
He just still does what he does. Yeah. So, wow. On that note, Billy Joel. I don't do a Billy Joel impression. Okay.
We done with that.
We're going to have some more impressions later. Joe, this was a good podcast.
It was. Make your home smarter. And
negotiations. Can we like have a smart device that negotiates for you? I don't think that can be done, can it? I mean, I guess a calculator.
I guess like I'm trying to think. C-3PO was a protocol droid.
Oh,
maybe
okay.
he'd be good at like bargaining.
I want R2D2 on my side. That whatever they are, they seem like they didn't take no ish from anybody.
Right. It always seemed like he was right. You know
what? Yeah. Seems like R2 always kind of like came out on top on the whole thing. And, and you had C-3PO who was just kind of neurotic about everything.
Right.
But maybe for a good thing, he just kept R2 in check. It's like you're getting a little crazy over here, but R2 is like, oh, I gotta turn this little dial that opens that stops the crushing thing in the Death Star there, the trash compactor.
Yeah. No, if you watch all the trilogies, I think even like some of this non-trilogy movies, like he's in all of them, isn't he? And some doesn't even like make a cameo. I know he's in the 3 main trilogies, but you realize he goes through all that, and he's like, that little droid kept some secrets from some people. You know?
Can I not get away from you for 5 minutes, R2D2?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to do any spoilers and say what kind of secrets he was keeping, but he saw some stuff.
You know, R2 did. You know what?
He saw Vader at the beginning.
Could R2 sell a house, though?
Probably.
I bet you. I don't know. The beeping would have gotten really annoying.
Yeah. No,
I envision him with like a Blazer driving a car with buyers in it. Like, oh, you're gonna love this neighborhood.
Beep boop bop boop boop. No, R2, we want 3 bedrooms. Beep boop bop boop boop.
All right, good podcast, Joe the Realtor from ksrealtyagent.com. And be sure to like, subscribe, share this podcast, and we're gonna be back for more real soon. Thanks for listening. Joe, anything you have to say?
Happy house hunting.
Happy house hunting. Love it. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks, Brian.